Hello everyone, it is Christine here and I am back for Roxy's Journal of Stitchery for our Field Notes project where the lovely Rachel and Sarah have given us the prompt of butterflies or insects or beetles or bees for this 2-week period for our Field Notes Slow Stitch Journal. And I've already started work on one page. I've got an idea for another 2 pages, whether I get both of those done. But I wanted to do a stump work or a dimensional element to actually go onto either the front of one of the pages or sitting atop one of the pages. And that is a butterfly made out of upcycled doilies. So this doily had some staining and some damage to it, so very happy to cut into it. And I'll be making a butterfly with you. So I've already made 3 components for the wings, but we need to make a 4th component, which we will do together. And then we'll make the body of the butterfly. The structuring of the butterfly is the doily, pipe cleaners, and you'll need 5 pipe cleaners, so 1 for each of the 4 wing components and 1 doubled up for the body, but we'll come to the body a bit later on. And if you want to make a pure white one, I would suggest you use white pipe cleaners, but if you want to make a colourful one like I'm doing here, you'll need some colourful threads, or you could equally use some colourful wools, could work absolutely beautifully as well. But here I've used 3 different razzle threads from Wonderfill, the Sue Spargo selection. They are a little tricky to work with in that they try and slip off, so it's hard to tie knots, but I've got a few strategies for using those as well. So let's cut one out together ourselves from the doily. Oh, and I'll give you just some dimensions. You don't have to stick to it, just whatever size doily you have. But my doilies are about 8 centimetres across, and my pipe cleaners are about 30 centimetres thereabouts. But use what you've got. With the pipe cleaners, they need to be enough to sort of thread around here and then still have a bit to twist at the end. If you want to make it with me, yeah, get 5 pipe cleaners, and we'll need something for the body. I'm using this braid, but I'll give you a few other ideas, even just something you could wind round, or I was thinking you could even use the scraps you've cut off your doily to wrap around the center of your butterfly, so we can brainstorm those things. I also want to show you, oh, that was my ruler falling down. At the end, I'm going to show you this beautiful bag with a butterfly from a dear friend in the UK who I've got to know through this incredible Stitchy community, and who sent me just the most incredible surprise happy mail with her own handcrafted beautifulness, and it fits so well with this butterfly theme. So I'll show you that at the end, so stay tuned for an absolute treat. I'm still feeling really emotional having come home from my holiday and received something so beautiful, so thoughtful, and just so perfectly me. Anyway, I'll try not to get emotional. So let's start by taking our doily and we'll cut out our circle. So with these doilies, you don't have to generally worry too much. They don't tend to unravel because I guess they're made through a series of almost, I guess, knots in the process where they are made. And I don't mind having a slightly sort of, fringiness to the, or sort of, kind of fringiness to the outside. So I'll put aside that bit, pick up the little random scraps, put them in my little scrap bag. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do, because it makes it a bit easier when you're stitching, is to thread our pipe cleaner through. So what I'm going to do is pop it in one hole, and then I'll go 2 along. You could go up every single one. I just decided to do every second one. And again, if you miss 1 or 2, it really isn't going to actually matter. 1, 2, that's a bit of a longer one at the end, at that bit there. So I hope you're having a lovely day or a lovely evening. It's a Sunday afternoon here. We arrived back yesterday from lovely Alpine, Victoria. You'll probably be seeing this video a bit later in the week, I think. But yeah, it's a rainy day. It started out beautiful. We took Travis up into the Dandenongs this morning for a walk at his favourite dog park. where there's also a stream with platypuses in it. He has to stay on the leash in the platypus area. Not that you often see platypuses. It's funny, really. The first explorers to Australia, apparently, when they saw a platypus, they actually thought they were like a stitched together fictional animal because they are so unusual. I think I might have said that before, so apologies if I'm if I'm boring you. I always forget what I've told you. But I do appreciate having you here. And in fact, when I show you the beautiful gift happy mail I got, I've actually got my plan for how I'm going to approach my my own happy mails, my own little giveaways going forward. So stay tuned to hear about that too, because yeah, the lovely Karen who sent me that happy mail, she's given me a great idea for how I can do it, and recognise those of you that support me with this channel by watching and encouraging me, and just by creating the lovely community in the comments. I just really appreciate it. And I definitely have a bounty of goodness to share. As well as sharing ideas, I have stash to share. And as you see with slow stitching, you just don't need a lot of fabric. It's just about having that variety of fabric, but you don't need a lot, so you can definitely share. In fact, I was just watching Annie Claxton on her live where that she was sharing the projects that she'd made and that the lovely Susie Q had made with the box of goodies that little scraps that Annie had put together, and also Sandy in Australia had made a beautiful needle book, and they all had lots of scraps left from that. And in fact, Sandy was giving away a box that she was going to top up and then send to someone else in Australia. So it's like what was that book, the Travelling Jeans or something? It's just a lovely idea. And I think the lovely Bee, who's part of Annie's community, was suggesting maybe that should be a future sort of project where people send boxes of scraps, and then they can continue to travel on, be created with, and then topped up and then sent on their way. Sorry, my little bit of my pointy end has just got caught. I'm just going to slide it back a smidge and make it a bit easier to thread it through the next 2-hole point. Not sure why it's being so tricky. I might actually just trim it a smidge. Probably shouldn't use those scissors, but never mind. Needs be. Okay, so I'll just go around here. I am just checking I am recording, always good to know. Nothing worse than having to kind of start recording again when you've already been chatting away, because you always forget what you've actually said and not said, and it all becomes a bit confusing. Because you have said it once, it's just it hasn't gone on video. So now we're around, I'll just take it through the final hole here. And then I'll just sort of pull it so that it's about an even amount. It doesn't have to be totally even. Should have pulled that a bit more. No, I think I'm actually making it shorter in the process. I need to pull it round this way if I want it to even up. Nope, did it the wrong way. Or maybe I just went too far. Let's see if we can get this to come out a bit more. I think I'll take that as that will be good enough for me. I mainly just need a bit of stuff left on the end. There we go. Okay, so I'll just give those a twist, and I'm just going to clip them out of the way while we're doing our stitching so we don't keep catching on them. So I'll grab one of my little, one of my clips that I've flicked into my lap. So these are just little quilting clips. So with these we want to do a few different stitches. So I'm going to do blue as a little up and down stitch around the center. So as I say, these are lovely to look at threads. They've got a real iridescence, which I thought would be great for butterfly wings, but they do tend to sort of try and unthread themselves. So I've worked out a few different techniques for getting them to stay put. So I usually, and I don't want to have like the sort of knots showing on the back, although I've kind of almost made a knot there, but that's okay. So I'm just stitching through to kind of just have it stitched over itself, although I've split they do tend to split quite easily, the threads as well, so you might get some little fluffy bits, but that's okay. And I'll just put another stitch over the top and then start off. And then when I come back, I might put another stitch in. So I'm just going to go up and down through the holes, and you could use, if you were catching too much with your pointy end of the needle, you could use the other end, but because these holes are large enough, I'm not having too much of a problem. But again, you just work with whatever your doily design is. Hopefully this will just give you a few different ideas of what you can do. So I'm going to do 3 rings of the blue. And this is a lovely variegated blue, as well as having that almost sort of metallic-y, sheeny iridescence. Don't know if you can hear the rain coming down outside. I did have my sheets out on the line, but I dashed out before while I was watching the replay of Annie Claxton's live from this morning, because I hadn't managed to catch the start of it because she starts when I'm usually asleep, but luckily I'd gone to bed early last night after our trip home. Both Alex and I were quite tired. I think it's just driving, and particularly as you come into the city, you'll really have to pay good attention. Lots of silly folks on the roads for sure. Now, let me just get that down there. Now I'm there, so I'll just go into the second ring here, and I'll go in and out and in and out. And in and out. It's lovely to give new life to these damaged doilies. And you could make quite a small version of this as well, just with some smaller pieces of a doily as well. That could be quite delicate. So as I'm coming down here, I'm just sort of threading it through the crochet to get down to then the next level. So I'm now at the inner ring, and I'm going to work my way around. Oops, caught my finger on the thread. Again, that's another hazard with this thread. Beautiful, but yeah, a little tricky to work with, but I'm still happy I've got it. I used a lot of it in my dictionary of stitches. So it's just so pretty. Makes you happy when you're looking at it. But you do need to put moisturizer on your hands if you have dry hands like mine. Okay, so that's all of that area. So what I'm going to do now is just take my needle back through the crochet, just sort of secreting the thread inside the crochet. I mean, this will be the underside of the wing anyway, but I want to keep it as neat as possible. And then I think I'll just put another stitch or two and a little knot where my initial knot was, and then I'll take the thread back into the knot as well, and then I'll cut it off close to the knot, and hopefully that should stay secure. So that's our blue done. Keep that blue for another day. And then we will do our yellow in the center. So this is a beautiful yellowy orange. How much do we need of that? Probably that should be about enough. So with this, I won't tie a knot. What I'm going to do to start it off is take it around the inner area here and just sort of secrete some of the thread on the underside of it. So I'm just going to leave a little bit of a tail. We can always trim that off if we need. I'm just going to work part of the way around the circle, just threading my thread so it's sort of sitting in the inner of the crochet stitches. So as you can see, it's not visible from the front. I'm just sort of threading it through that tight circle, and then I'm going to bring my needle up and start the process of wrapping that central core with stitches. And I'm just going to pop up in each of there's like little tiny holes here, which are sort of pretty evenly spaced apart. And I'm going to lay little wrappy stitches, and if they're not laying totally flat, because this thread does have a tendency to want to kind of lay where it wants to, I'll just use the end of my needle to help position it into position. So I quite like doing this. It reminds me of those little circles you do see on butterfly wings. And again, you can select whatever colours. You could even make it true to a sort of a butterfly that you know. But yeah, this is a fictional butterfly. Oops. That's why we clip the ends back so they don't get caught. I might just get that a bit better clipped back. Had quite a few of these red and white, almost candy cane pipe cleaners, so that's why I decided to use those. So now that I've gone around, I'm going to bring the needle back to the back. So I'll do one final wrap there, and then I'm going to take it first of all under one of the stitches nearby, and then I'm going to thread it around under more of the stitches that I've laid down and under part of the crochet. So this will mean that I don't have to tie it off. I'm going to cut off the first little end that I had left, which was the part of the threaded end, and then I'm going to keep going around, just putting the tail of the thread that's still in the needle just under a few more stitches before I cut it off, and that should hold that secure. And I can always do a little back stitch over one of the stitches and then just put it under a final little row. And then I think that will be pretty secure because it's come quite a ways round. Now with a normal thread that's not slippy, you could probably just do a little knot, or with a wool you might even be able to just pass it through itself. So just experiment for what works. So I'll keep that bit of thread, and then we need our red and grey mix, so that's what I've used around that area. Have a sip of my tea. I've got my puka, elderberry and echinacea, which I mainly have because I like the flavour, but I figure in this sort of mid-season time when who knows what's around, what bugs are doing the rounds, it's good to have a bit of a boost as well. Okay, so I'm going to start off near where my my little crossover of my pipe cleaners are. You don't have to, obviously, but that's where I'm going to just put a little knot in, I think, to start up here, because that will kind of be hidden anyway when we put the body in place. Oops, I think I've pulled my thread through. Did I pull my thread through? I don't know. Tail's almost disappeared, I think. Again, I could have started it the same way I started the center one because we're doing a similar stitch, but I can do that as well. I'm then going to pass my thread down so that hopefully I can't see it. Let's take it down the back here. Like that. Okay, and then I'm going to pop through to the front. Again, I'm just going to work around this little inner core in the same way that I did the center core. Again, if I need to kind of position the stitches at all, I can do that. So it's been so lovely seeing what folks are creating for this prompt for Roxy's Journal of Stitchery. Lots of lovely moths, butterflies, grasshoppers, cicadas. I've heard one of my Aussie stitchy pals, she was creating a cicada. Just lots and lots of loveliness. So again, I'm just sort of coming up through the natural little holes. Even though they're a lot closer here, you can sort of see where they are. The needle finds them a bit easily too. But if you did come through a bit of crochet, that's fine as well. As you can see, these threads do want to kind of split as well a little bit, but generally don't work with huge lengths of them. I need a bit of a decent length to get around this inner area. But I like how this one, yeah, changes from the red to the rosy colour to the grey. It's quite nice. So for the centre piece, I do one stitch on one side and then one stitch in the middle and then come through to the other side just so it gets that kind of, yeah, stitches sitting right. So I will tell you what my plans are as well for my future giveaways and happy mails, which will be bespoke packs of goodies to send to folks, which means I'll whoever I pull out as the winner, I'll check in what they would like from my stash and put together a pack of goodies for them. We'll send them anywhere in the world that I can send them. Probably the Aussie girls that win, and probably New Zealand as well. I have to check the postage. I can put together slightly larger packs because postage will be a bit more affordable. But what I'm planning to do is keep a running list of people who are leaving comments on my videos so that I can recognise those of you that are regular watchers of the channel and regular parts of our community. Now, I know not everyone, particularly if you're watching on a TV, it can be harder for you to leave a comment. But yeah, if you're periodically leaving comments, I will have your name in my jar of my little community members, and I will pull from that jar whenever I'm going to do a draw. I'll probably set it up, I think, as an electronic list because that way I can maintain it over time and add folks into it. I'll also cleanse it periodically so that if I haven't kind of heard from someone. So yeah, I guess that will be a little bit of an encouragement to leave a comment. I know sometimes when you're watching you might be working on something, so it's not always possible, but for those of us that share videos, it is just so lovely to hear from those that are watching, hear what you're up to, hear what you think of what we're doing. So I thought that would be a good way, because I know sometimes people might miss the one video where I share that I'm doing a giveaway, so I thought this might be a fairer way that people can be recognised. And it was Karen who sent me that bag, which I'll be showing you a bit later on. She has a just because jar. I think that's what she calls it. Let me just check what she calls it in her card. Yep, her just because I can pot. That's what she calls it. So it's going to be the honorary Karen Snoppy, just because I can pot, and that's what I'm going to do going forward. And I reckon probably about every month I will do just because I can bespoke package of goodies from my stash, tailored to whoever is the winner. And so what I'll probably do is reply to a comment that you've left on one of my videos as a means of getting in touch with you and asking you to get in touch with me as a winner of that But just be aware, because there are sort of scammers and other things. I will never ask you to send me money or anything. If I'm sending you something, I will only ask you for your address and for what you would like in your package. I will never ask you for money. I don't sell anything, so don't expect me to ever be asking you for money. I'm here because I like creating and I like sharing. And I like thrifting, and as someone observed recently, what are you going to do with all those things, Christine? And they said, oh, maybe you should pass some of it along. And I did comment back to them, yes, I do. I do love sending out packages. If only postage wasn't so expensive overseas, but I can definitely do a package every month. And possibly more frequently. I don't know how time flies these days, though. Both Alex and I were just saying at lunchtime, we can't believe it's already September. It'll be Christmas before we know it. I was in the car when I was up in Bright and heard them advertising the local carols by candlelight, and I thought, wow, that's a bit early. And then I thought, well, yep, kind of makes sense. They had it as a bit of a save the date for the local carols by candlelight. I do find, like, I quite like carols by candlelight. I don't often go to them, but I don't mind watching the one on TV. I do find it gets me into the Christmas spirit. Not good at singing at all. You definitely wouldn't want to hear me singing. Oops. You can see the ends of the threads become quite separate, but you can use them as well. They also go lovely in your aught balls if you save all your threads up, all your aughts. Which, because I've had questions, what is an aught? I think it's come from the Middle Ages. It's quite an old term, and it used to mean scrap, not necessarily a thread scrap, but somehow over time it became associated with thread scraps. Oops, those ones have kind of sat on top of each other. Let me see if I can just spread those stitches out a smidge. Probably doesn't matter too much. This rain is really coming down. Garden will be having a good water. Everything grows so lushly in its spring now in Australia, and everything will be growing very lush. So now that I'm at the end, I will take my thread to the back, oops, and try not to hook my pipe cleaner. I've got a bit of fluff there. And then I think I'll do the same process. I'll do one little sort of back stitch through a stitch, and then I'll pass my needle under some more stitches and through some more crochet with my thread. Can be a little bit hard when you're pulling it through. There we go. Use the bench to kind of push off. Okay, so that's probably enough threaded around. Could have done another little back stitch, but I didn't. So now we have our lovely little, I just take that one. Going to let it lengthen out a bit. So with these I have just twisted the ends together, and I can do that with these two. Let me see, that's my back and that's the back. So this one I'll make a bit more elongated, and then I will twist these ends together. And ultimately we might put a couple of little stitches in. This is the bit that I haven't yet done, but we'll work it out together for the body. So I've made a double length, which I think will be about right for the body. I might just make a little sort of head piece that's slightly less. How do we think that will look for the body? So I do tend to have a bit of a tail. Maybe I don't need to actually, maybe I will make the body that long. Yeah, because they do tend to have a bit of a tail out from them, don't they? I'm just going to have a look at a butterfly. Oh, a little bit of a head. Maybe I will. I will bend that round. But you can make the body of your butterfly whatever size you want. I think that will be good. Then I'm going to take this braid. Now I thought if you don't have something like this braid, you could also wrap it with lace. If you had, for example, just grabbing a random bit of lace here, you could wrap a body and put some stitches in. So with lace like that, that would look quite good, I think. But I just thought because I have this this trim, I'm going to use that. I think I got this trim just at the op shop while I was away in Bright, because I've been unpacking things today and I think that came out of one of the bags. I'm going to use a sort of a coordinating cotton and thread up my needle. So I'll fold an endy bit in, I think, and just put some stitches in that first of all. Just so we catch the sort of the raw end. And then I'll put my pipe cleaner, my doubled up pipe cleaner. This can be the head bit. And I'm just going to lay it down next to the braidy bit. The braidy bunch, no, the braidy bit. And put some stitches in, just holding it in place, but not catching on the braid. Maybe I should hold it the other way if I don't want that to happen. Just enough to kind of hold it while we then stitch it all together. So they don't have to be super close to each other. Just wanting to kind of just anchor it just below where the upper braid is. But yeah, wrapping with some lace or even some wool, anything like that would work. If you didn't want to have a bendy body, you could just use a piece of card and wrap that. I just thought I'll stick with the pipe cleaners. I was sort of pondering wire. I was wondering if I had one of those those old wire coat hangers, because I thought that could be a good consistency. Originally I was thinking I might do a sort of a mixed lace collage onto a wing. But in the end, I then also had a look over and saw I had this doily, and I thought, oh, that'd be fun, do some colourful stitching into it. Some slow stitching on the doily. Now, I could do a doubled up body, which could be quite nice, although then I'd have this longer bit at the bottom, which would be okay for attaching it. Or, if it's about the right length that I can actually roll it up over and join it like that. So I think that's what I'm going to do, which means I'll cut a bit off at this end and tuck that in as well. Cut that off, tuck that over. Again, I just want to catch the raw ends so they don't become a problem. Enough stitches in just to sort of hold them out of the way. Stitches sort of just looping over that raw end. Just put another one in here, another one down here. Okay, and then I will start working my way back and just linking this bit on. Just need to kind of secrete that a bit more inside. Put a few extra stitches at this end just to hold it as we want it to be. Oops, trying catch the tail of your thread. And then I'm just going to be catching, wrapping the pipe cleaner, so it's wrapping all the way over, and I'm just catching one side to the other side. And because the thread's pretty matchy, it doesn't, yeah, you can't see it. Okay. Can't actually remember exactly what a butterfly's body looks like, but I thought this might be reminiscent. Just thought it'd be fun to have some additional 3D sort of elements with my field notes. I've got my beautiful mossy foresty scene border that I did for the nest prompt. In fact, the beautiful bag that Karen sent me, which I'll be showing you shortly, once I put this together, yeah, it really reminds me of the forest as well. So she just couldn't have put together a bag better for me. I'm just amazed at the kindness of folks that are part of our Stitchy community. Just absolutely blown away. I was really emotional when I got the bag from Karen. It's funny because I wasn't expecting anything at all, and the neighbour came round just as I got home and said, "Oh, I've got mail," and there was a package that said Happy Mail, and I was like, "Oh, who's this from?" Much better than getting a bill or something. Only other mail I had was a bank telling me that they'd closed down a credit card that I wanted closed down. It used to be one I used when I went travelling, but hadn't used it in years, and they were about to start charging a fee, and I was like, nope, I don't need to pay a fee on that. So I closed that down before I went on holidays. They actually sent me 2 letters. I sometimes wonder how banks work. Or maybe someone set it to print and didn't know it had actually printed out. Okay. Put another few stitches in at this end just so it's all well secured. Let's have a look at how that's looking. Yeah, I think that's going to be quite nice. Sort of wanting to twist a bit that way, but I'm sure being a pipe cleaner, yep, pipe cleaner, we can get it to sit how we want. I think that's pretty good, even for the head. I think that's good. I just feel like that's trying to pop a bit out, so I'll just put a few little holding stitches over that. Haven't worked out how I'll put antennas on it yet. Oops. What have I done there? I've just unthreaded my needle. Couple more stitches in just to hold that nice and tight there too, and then I'll put a few little knots in to hold it. And then I can secrete the end of the thread back inside as well. So I'm just passing it forward, and then I can cut the thread off and it will just sort of pop back into the piece. Okay, so that's our body. Now we need to work out how we are going to attach our wings to the body. So I'm thinking I will probably be cutting the pipe cleaner off here, and I should use my non-good scissors for that. And so I'll just make sure this one's well twisted as well. Put those ones in my scrap bag. And then we'll re-thread up with some new thread because we don't have enough there. Actually, I'll use white. The doily's a white doily. You could always tea dye it if you wanted it to be a brownie colour. Or you could paint them if you've got Inktense or other fabric paints. That would be good if you didn't want to do the stitching detail on it. You wanted to make colourful ones. You could definitely do that. So I think I'll put it on about there. So I'll pop through. Just put a couple of stitches through the body first. Cut off my little taily bit here. Okay. And then I'll come through and put some stitches into Mr. Butterfly. It's a bit mean putting stitches into the butterfly, isn't it? It's for a good cause, butterfly. It's to attach your wings to you. Do you talk to your works when you're making them, particularly if they're little animals? Or is it just me? Oops. It's going to be a lot of catching of the threads, I think. Let's come through and catch a bit of the wing there. As I say, this is a bit experimental because I've not made a butterfly like this before. Now I think I'll just work my way down the body, putting stitches through and catching it either into the doily or into the pipe cleaner. Where the pipe cleaner twist is, you can also sort of go through that as well. I've actually got those little flower stamens that you put. I think they used to be used in cake decorating because I remember Mum was she made amazing wedding cakes for people and other sorts of birthday cakes and things. And I think she had those stamens, but I think they must also be used in, I don't know if they are used in stitchery or some other crafts. And I've actually got some of them sitting in a jar. I'm sure I've got some in that jar. Yep, over there. I can see them sitting next to me in some of my little display jars, and I could use those for the little antenna. I think that's what I'll do. See, just sitting there stitching, it always helps you to think. That's what I believe. I don't know how far down the body I should attach the wings. Let's just have a look at it. Oops. I'm catching the thread on the body. Come here, thread. I think probably a bit further down, just so that they hold properly. Yeah. I'm just going through one side and then through the other. And just angling my needle so it sort of works its way down. Okay, I reckon this will be the last of the stitches through. I think that should be pretty good for the wings. Maybe one more. One more for good luck. obviously I'll stand up like that, so that's how I want them to be. So I'll put an extra little stitch in this side just to make a knot in case any threads come loose later on. At least that side will hold. Okay, and then we can attach our other sets of wings. So that's the back, this will be the front. And I just sort of clip, maybe I'll just clip those so they stay where I want them to stay. Yeah, I think that's pretty good. I want the body to be up like that. So I guess I'll start about there. I can always go back through the other wing on the other side as well while I'm doing it, I suppose. I could have always done it all in one go at the first, but I think it's easier to get one side on first and then do the other side. But if you're more dexterous than I am, you might be able to do it all in one go, like this. Yep, I think that's going to work fine. Just checking how it was looking, but I think that's pretty good. And then the good thing about this braid is it will be easy to stitch it onto whatever surface I want to, whatever fabric I want to have it sitting on. Probably decide that when I'm putting the whole Field Notes accordion book together. Oops, catching. So many things to catch on when you've got these many pieces. I'll come through that middle bit of twisted pipe cleaner. And back through that again. Come through the other twisted bit of pipe cleaner on the other side. Good thing with the pipe cleaners is you can kind of twist them now and put them in whatever sort of shapes, because I think often they have, the butterflies have a sort of a slightly elongated up that way and definitely elongated down the bottom. Okay, so I think that's pretty good. I might just do 1 or 2 more stitches through. So this project will probably only take you about, well, if this video is 48 minutes, and I did one wing with you, I reckon probably an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours, depending on, how intricate your stitching that you add to it is. Probably an hour if you don't do any stitching. Just secrete my thread back into my, in fact actually I'll pass it up to the top and then we can put the little eyes on. So let me grab my jar. Just have to move my Suffolk puffs out of the way so I can get to my jar over here. Try not to push that jar off the surface. So I have a little jar of goodies here and I've got some of, where are they? There they are. Got these little stameny things, but I think they could make fabulous little antennas. Yes, they are. They will make a great little antenna. So let's get my thread to come out fully central, and then let's fold our little wiry thing. Nice if I probably would have been good if I actually put it in at the start, but that's okay. We didn't know at the start that we were going to be using those. We only worked that out as we crafted. Just put plenty of tight stitches in and that should hold them. A few more in either side. And then I've still got time to show my beautiful gift from Snoppy Karen. Snoppy because it was meant to be Snoopy, but she got Snoppy. I think that's in the Discord group, Annie Claxton's lovely Discord community. So Snoopy Snoppy, and her name is Karen. And she's an absolute sweetheart. And she loves butterflies too, so this one's for you too, Karen. Although this is bodgy compared to your beautiful, beautiful bags. Now, if I wanted the wings, I'd have to decide, do I need the wings to have any stitches? I think I will just put the odd little stitch here just to hold the wings a bit firmly as well. Just so they kind of sit where I want them in position to each other. Oops, we didn't actually get a knot that time. Let's try again. That time we got a knot in the wrong place entirely. We've got a knot in the top. Hang on. Cut that knot off the... Okay, take two. So I think I'll just put a little stitch or two in if I can get my thread to hold. It's okay, I'll just do a few stitches over anyway, just to sort of hold the wings in nice position to each other. Yeah, I think that will work well because then they kind of give each other a bit of support as well. Can always do another stitch down here also. Oops. Another stitch down here, and I might just pass my needle then across the piece and do the other side with a single bit of thread. I've got enough thread. Okay, so again a bit like this, we will just pop over to here. Yeah, I think that's pretty super. Okay, let's tie off our end. Yeah, just being a regular sewing cotton, it just disappears into the crochet, which is perfect. Okay, cut that off. Put our needle in our little hanging up needle pile. There's our little butterfly. His wings sit up beautifully, and there he is. Little flutterby, the butterfly. pretty happy with that, and I just love how bendy he is. So you could have him flat on a piece if you wanted, but otherwise you can have a dimensional piece and he will just, yeah, sit atop something. You could even make them hanging, and wouldn't they be lovely decorations, having them hanging up in your craft room? I'll have them on a window, almost like a little stained glass window. So I hope you like that idea. Just something I came up with entirely out of my crazy mind. And now let me bring you up, and I want to show you the beautiful happy mail from Snoppy Karen. I've got some lovely quotes about butterflies. So, and in fact this applies to Karen as well. Butterflies are nature's angels. They remind us what a gift it is to be alive. And then we've got this quote, which is, the butterfly counts not months but moments and has time enough. Aren't they lovely quotes? So let me show you. Actually, I might even need to bring you up a tiny bit more. Just a second. You can see the mess on my desk, but that's okay. Let me move all of this out of the way. And let me show you this gloriousness. We're going to have to go up a smidge again. A smidge again. And this is the beautiful, incredible bag that Snoppy has made. Isn't it just the most incredible thing you have seen? If you've been watching me a while, you know how much I love making my forest scenes, my mossy foresty wonderlands, and this just evokes it so well, the fern and just the colours. And then butterflies, like how did Karen know that I just adore butterflies and have been collecting butterflies and butterfly things since I was a child, and isn't this just glorious? And just that lovely golden pop. In fact, in Victoria we have a golden butterfly that's quite endangered. But I'm going to bring it up a bit closer just so you can have a really good look at just how exquisite the stitching. Snoppy uses machine stitching, but then hand stitching as well, like on the butterfly, and these beautiful circles. I just said I couldn't get over how just beautifully made the bag is. Like, look at these handles, look at the lining, look at those beautiful colours, and even the continuation around the inside. It's got a zip inside, always so handy just to put your parking ticket or your card. It's got some pockets along here, so good to put your phone in. Got your keys. I mean, I'm always misplacing my keys, so that will just be incredibly useful. And then look at this other side. Look at that. Another glorious butterfly. And just so many lovely fabrics. Some of them are really textural, like these ones and these ones. These ones, they almost feel like a velour. I'm just blown away just by the craftsmanship, but then just the generosity of Karen to send it to me as a just because gift, and I look forward to doing the same for others on the channel going forward, as I was talking about before. Look at that. Isn't that funny? I just had that quote around the butterfly counts not months but moments and has time enough, and it's got that little time symbol, and just so many of the beautiful lush foresty. And then she's got even got the little feet on the bag, so that when it's sitting on the ground, the bag bottom doesn't get dirty. But I'm not going to let this sit on the ground. This is going to be absolutely treasured. I am going to use it because it's a bag that deserves to be seen and admired. On those occasions when I need to go into work, it's the perfect size to be able to carry my laptop in, and my other little bits and pieces, and I just know everyone at work is going to be so amazed. I'm lucky, actually. I've got a bunch of in fact, our team now, everyone is arty in some way, which is just fabulous. So got someone doing a painting and a sort of fine arts degree, another friend that likes quilting. We've got another friend that does like crochet and other things, and then another one whose mum's into quilting but also does some stitching and crafting. So it's funny, you can start to gather a little tribe around you in real life as well. Although I feel these videos are real life. You are my friends. You're just not in my craft room physically, but you're definitely here in spirit. So yeah, I'm just blown away, Karen. I cannot thank you enough for your kindness, and I just so value your friendship, and I look forward to returning the kindness in spades, both to you but also to all of you that support me through your comments and your encouragement of my channel. So thanks everyone, you take care, and I'll speak to you soon. Bye.